What's up, fellas? It's your main man back on the scene with another video. We're gonna check out Anton's take on this debate. I wasn't impressed with either side. I watched it live, the whole thing, and it was trash. The moderators were trash. Trump, again, spent too much time defending himself as opposed to hammering his opponent. Because that's all he had to do. Just hammer her on policy. That's it. Forget the smart comments and all that. Just hammer her. And Kamala, she did a masterful job in baiting him. And he took it. That's where he blew it. There were, I'd say, on the economy, he could have crushed her. The whole, whether she's black or not, he could have crushed her. He let that slide. And that my body, my choice thing. He could have crushed her with that. And he let it slide. But let's check this out. Oh, but he did cook her in the closing statements. He got her with that. But as far as the rest of the debate, I would give it a tie. Let's go.
I was very confused. I was very much confused. So let me see if I can get to it.
You both here tonight.
Good evening. We are looking forward to a spirited and thoughtful debate.
So let's get started.
So first and foremost, let me rewind it one.
Good evening. We are looking forward to a spirited and
So this woman right here she absolutely needs to be removed from any future moderation of a debate. This woman right here, and I'm going to do a whole thing on her on the Anton Daniels channel, needs to be removed from being a moderator from any further debate, because this was the first opponent that Trump had. Trump's first opponent wasn't Kamala Harris. Trump's first opponent was her. And what I found out after doing a little bit of research, and y'all sent me some stuff in my email this morning, I found out that this was her sorority sister. How was that not a conflict of interest?
See, I didn't know that.
How was that not a
I didn't know that the night of the debate. I had no idea. But it was obvious they were trying to help her. They came to her aid. Let's go.
conflict of interest that you got your sorority sister as one of the moderators on a left-leaning platform?
Yeah,
if
that's
I was
trash,
Trump, I would have
man.
never even accepted the debate under these conditions.
Nah, he
in the
shouldn't
first place.
have. Or they didn't know.
This is her sorority sister. How are you going to have her sorority sister, which obviously she's so biased throughout the entire debate?
What I would have done, since the first debate was on CNN, a liberal platform, or far left platform, because they're not liberal. Let's kill that. The second debate should have been on Fox in conservative space. Let's go. But she probably would have punked out.
I think that ABC did a horrible job before we even get into the highlights. They did not, and I got to give CNN a lot of credit on this. CNN 100% did a 10 times of a better job, 100% better job.
Did.
They were actually fair. They actually kept the rules. They kept the mics muted. They didn't let people overtalk. They held their ground, and then they asked insightful questions. CNN did a phenomenal job compared to ABC. I just can't believe what I was looking at. And then you got her sorority sister.
Yeah, they did a better job, but they did save Jim Crow Joe a couple of times because of his mental faculties weren't up to par.
That's up there helping her out. So check out the first question. This is where I knew that everything was 100% three verse 1. Check this out.
thoughtful debate.
So let's get started. I want to begin tonight with the issue that voters repeatedly say is their #1 issue, and that is the economy and the cost of living in this country.
Now listen to the first question. Listen carefully and listen to the response. The economy and cost of living.
Vice President Harris, you and President Trump were elected 4 years ago, and your opponent on the stage here tonight often asks his supporters, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
The question is, are you better off?
She didn't answer the question. Complete dodge, zero pushback from these so-called moderators. Let's go.
Trump says that you are worse off. I believe, and a lot of people can look at their finances, look at their bank accounts, look at your repossessions, look at your household, and say, you know what? I may not be better off. Things is a little bit more difficult. I just got evicted, right? 2016 through 2020 was a little bit nicer. The question is, are you better off today versus what you were 3.5 years ago? Let me replay it for you because I know we got a lot of C students and D students in here. And so let me replay it for you just so you hear it. All right?
Stage here tonight often asks his supporters, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid, and I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people.
Bitch, shut the fuck up.
I don't hear no addressing the question. Now, when Trump would be asked the question, they made sure that they forced him into a corner like a rabid dog and to get straight into it. And they pressed and they pressed and they fact checked and they falsely fact checked and they did all of that. She did not answer the question at all. It was almost like a script was handed to her to say this and completely deflect away from what it is today. Are we better off today than we were 3.5 years ago?
Of America. I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people. And that is why I imagine and have actually a plan to build.
We don't care what you imagine. We don't care what you imagine.
Answer the question.
Like to know the answer to the question. And if you gonna sit here and tell me that this is not biased, I don't know what else to tell you.
Now you see now, you done fucked up, you know that, don't you?
We don't care what you imagine.
Because if Trump would have did that, they would try to force him to answer the question. But when she ducked and dodged, bombed and weaved better than Muhammad Ali, they let it slide. So the debate was trash, man. ABC, you guys should be ashamed of yourselves.
It's not relevant. And I just kind of let it play last night because we wanted to hear the full answers and I was looking for the context and we couldn't stop it and really give our thoughts. We had a few minutes in between certain segments. But I was thinking to myself, she didn't even answer the question. What are you talking about? What you imagine in your head? I'm going by what we said over the question is, are we better off today than we were 3.5 years ago?
Build what I call an opportunity economy. Because here's the thing. We know that we have a shortage of homes and housing, and the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need support to raise their children, and I intend on extending a tax cut for those families of $6,000, which is the largest.
The remedy is trash, and neither one of the candidates spoke on how capital funds buying single-family homes have driven the price beyond affordability for the average person. And remember, Billy Boy Clinton is responsible for the Glass-Steagall. When they removed that, Glass-Steagall made it illegal for a capital fund to buy single-family homes, which they shouldn't be able to do that. They want to do commercial properties and all that, fine. But single-family homes should only be for families, period. Let's go.
Child tax credit that we have given in a long time, so that those young families can afford to buy a crib, buy a car seat, buy clothes for their children. My passion, one of them, is small businesses. My mother raised my sister and me, but there was a woman who helped raise us. We call her our second mother. She was a small business owner.
What the fuck? What are we talking about? Hold on. Because again, I know y'all all live in the moment, but when we go back and we watch the replay and we watch the highlights.
Take these off.
One of my passions, think about what she said. One of my passions are small businesses. I don't even know what that means, honest to God.
Yeah, I
don't even know what that means. One of my passions is small businesses. And I knew somebody that my mother knew that was a friend of my mother that had a small business.
She didn't answer the damn question. Completely total evasive.
The question is, are we better off today than we was 3.5 years ago? So you know somebody that had a small business, but you never opened up a small business yourself, but your passion is small business and you can imagine a better way forward. What are we talking about? And see, y'all won't give nobody. Y'all will not hold this woman accountable. I don't know what it is. I don't know if she know your daddy and your daddy is on probation and it's a possibility that he can get locked up or what? But y'all don't
She know where the
hold
bodies
this
are
woman to the
buried or
fire
something.
at all. What do you mean your passion is small business, but you worked in the public sector your entire life? You've never had a job that actually would support small business. Every single dollar that you've ever gotten in your life is based off of the taxpayers. Every one of them. Every single one of them. What do you mean? Answer the question. Your passion is small business?
Love our small businesses. My plan is to give a $50,000 tax deduction to start up small businesses, knowing they are part of the backbone of America's economy.
Jesus, Lord.
My opponent, on the other hand, his plan is to do what he has done.
What are we talking? The question is, okay, for those of y'all that's slow, you got a short memory, because I know that we used to Vine. Remember Vine? We like shorts. We like TikToks.
Look, what the hell was that? She didn't answer the damn question. She didn't say a damn thing. This is what I'm talking about. The entire night, she did that. She didn't say jack. Just word salad.
Of the day, yeah, we worked 3 years ago. I remember of the day, yeah, we are.
No, I was watching NBC World News, or whatever they call it. And they were talking about Kamala, and there was a black girl there, and she was like, oh, I'm so excited that somebody that looks like you could be running for president. I was like, oh my God. That's what you're voting for? You know, first time I voted, 1984, I was 18. My criteria for who I was going to vote for was my wallet. That was my motivation.
Show me the money.
And this broad is talking about, they look like me. What does that do for your wallet? Your quality of life? Nothing. As we see with the Congressional Black Caucus in California, being black doesn't mean anything. They've been playing that game for decades. They've finally been exposed. So if you keep voting that way, whatever you get, you deserve it. You're a damn fool.
3.5 years ago. And they let her get away with it. They let her get away with it. She literally said nothing. And then she started going straight in about what Trump's plan is. We don't got to worry about Trump's plan is. We know what Trump did over the last 2016 through 2020. I am better off today than you were 3.5 years ago. When inflation was at 1.2% when you got the keys to the economy.
Nothing.
Which is to provide a tax cut for billionaires and big corporations, which will result in $5 trillion to America's deficit. My opponent has a plan that I call the Trump's sales tax, which would be a 20% tax on everyday goods that you rely on to get through the month. Economists have said that Trump sales tax would actually result for middle-class families.
Only reason I'm letting this play is because I want y'all to see that there is no pushback on Kamala Harris at all.
In about $4,000
yeah, she's straight line, and they didn't say anything.
Of his policies and his ideas about what should be the backs of middle-class people paying for tax cuts for billionaires.
President Trump, I'll give you 2 minutes.
So she never answered the question. She did a bunch of word salad. She lied, and then he pressed her. I did like the fact that he pressed her on those tariffs that Biden left in place, that he never took away, that they complaining about for Trump, but they never took them away. And so it's so many different things that we can go through. But let's get back to the highlights. I just wanted to set the precedent of how bad ABC is and how bad.
Well, the purpose of the tariff is to make foreign goods more expensive compared to stuff that was made in the states themselves. See, the thing is, China uses slave labor, so it's hard to compete with them because they got to undercut you with the price.
Bad she was, but yet y'all are giving her these praises and these accolades, and y'all think that she did so well. How? She never even answered the question. And then she had somebody that basically, she had Chris Paul that was giving her alley-oops, and she still couldn't dunk it. I expected more from a former prosecutor. Anyways, let me go back to the highlights.
And that is why I imagine and have actually a plan to build what I call an opportunity economy. Because here's the thing. We know that we have a shortage of homes and housing, and the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need support to raise their children, and I intend on extending a tax
which other countries are going to finally, after 75, we're doing tariffs on other countries. Other countries are going to finally, after 75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world. Look, we've had a terrible economy because inflation which is really known as a country buster. It breaks up countries. We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before, probably the worst in our nation's history. We were at 21%, but that's being generous because many things are 50, 60, 70, and 80% higher than they were just a few years ago. They have,
and that is one of the things that he said and that he did that was absolutely on point. If Trump, in my opinion, he got a B- in this debate. And that's because he continued to let them bait him. But if he'd have stayed straight on that,
that's what I'm saying. If he didn't go for the bait, he would have cooked her. If he'd have just kept frying that chicken, he would have cooked her, man. But she didn't say anything. And he missed too many opportunities. I told you, there was a few things where he could have smoked her on there, but he didn't do it because he's too busy trying to defend himself.
On that right there, hey, listen. Inflation for a lot of y'all is really at 50, 60, 70% because it's more than double what it is that you initially was paying for it. This is where gas prices are. This is where the economy is. This is how much groceries are. This is what beef is. We handed them over the keys at 1.2% inflation. Now y'all absolutely suffering. People are losing their jobs. All of this. If he would have just stayed straight on them and just kept on them like a wolf, it would have been over for her. Over. But then they had to make sure that they gave her the alley-oop with the moderators, which in this highlight, they're not going to tell y'all what the moderators were saying. But let's get to the main points.
And she has destroyed our country with policy that's insane. Almost policy that you'd say they have to hate our country. First of all, they bought their chips from Taiwan. We hardly make chips anymore because of philosophies like they have and policies like they have. I don't say her because she has no policy. Everything that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago.
Yeah, there's a clip of Bernie Sanders arguing about they gave chip manufacturers money to create jobs here and they offshored them anyway. So they should have made them pay that money back. And now they're trying to give them money to come back. Nah, man, forget that. Stop. They're stealing their money. People need to, or all of us, need to stay on their case. Congress.gov, you can see what they're voting on. Stay on them. Don't let them get away with this stuff. That's your money. Act like a boss.
Years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's gone to my philosophy. But if she ever got elected, she'd change it. And it will be the end of our country. She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people that are pouring into our country monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million people, not the 15 that people say, and I think it's a lot higher than the 21. That's bigger than New York State pouring in. And just look at what they're doing to our country. They're criminals. Many of these people coming in are criminals.
He was cooking, and they don't want to give him no credit for that. He was cooking. He was talking about exactly what it is that he did, and then he went over and he substantiated his argument by identifying exactly how she was raised and why she didn't have her father at the Democratic National Convention because he's a Marxist professor. She tried to play it off, and you see she didn't shake her head, but she just did like this. And then he started cooking. And he was basically breaking down what you are affected by based off of what it is that they did, and the question was largely based off of the tariffs. See, because
I'm going to shut this down right here. You can go watch the whole thing because it's like, yeah, this show is like 2 hours, so I'm not going to go through all that. Where Trump messed up at, again, is spent too much time defending himself. He should have cooked her when she didn't answer that question about are they better off now than they were 4 years ago. He could have straight smoked her on that, but he let that slide. The same thing with the my body. It's a woman's choice, the blah, blah. The government shouldn't tell her what to do with her body. He should have came back. Well, you guys did that with the vaccine, their body, their choice, but it doesn't apply when it's for something that you don't agree with. He could have smoked her on that. And when they asked him about his comments about her race, what he should have said was, they asked me a question and I answered it. I didn't bring that up. They brought it up. But hey, I'm a proud white man. Kamala, are you a proud black woman? And see what she answered. Because she didn't answer that question in that interview. She evaded that. So he could have cooked her on that. And he smoked her at the end. That closing statement, he cooked her. Because she's in office right now. The Democrats are in power right now. If they really want to course correct, they could do it right now. But they're not going to do that. Because they're hoping a lot of fools are going to keep voting for this bullshit. But anyways, brothers, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you brothers in the next video. Peace.